Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming in on a Monday evening. Haven't done one of these in a while, but this is a very special and another great episode of toy artist interview or toy artist spotlight or whatever the heck you want to call it. But basically, what it is I've got like a really great toy artist, pretty much always toy photographer, obviously, but really great toy artist with me that we're just gonna talk to this guy. He's great. Really talented, and gonna learn about him and hopefully learn something. Like pretty much anytime I do something like this, I always learn so much. So hopefully that's what happens with you guys too. So Stubbs is here, Ben is here, who's been a member for 13 months. Thank you, Ben, as always. Comic Dad is here. Electron, I saw your chat here since the beginning, like when I started the stream, like or scheduled it like hours ago. But basically what it is, if you joined the Dork Master tier that I've got here on the YouTube membership, you get an interview on the channel. So yeah, and I've got him right here. I'm not gonna wait any longer, but Paul is here, Mr. Paul Riker himself. How you doing, man? Thanks for coming on. How you doing? I mean, I'm doing great.
Did you have a good Thanksgiving, by the way?
Yes, I did, actually. I have two kind of Thanksgivings, one with my wife's family and then one with mine. And there was like not that there usually is, but like there were no real crazy hiccups. We had one, we had the other. They were great. And then now it's done. And I'm working on leftovers. And I'm assuming you're not really celebrating.
No, we don't do Thanksgiving
over there.
We have Black Friday, but we don't do Thanksgiving over here.
Did you get any figures?
Too many. In fact, most of them are on the floor in the living room down here. Most of them.
Oh, cool.
Morning, so
okay, well, that's a great thing to that I want to ask about. Hey, Johnny and Aaron. Wow, holy crap! Everyone, thank you so much for coming in. And if you're not already, before I ask more about Black Friday, because I'm really curious, if you're not already following Paul, please do. I've got his Instagram open right here. It is, Riker Funko Review. This is Paul Riker, and we'll get into this very soon. But if you're not following him already, please make sure you are. Right now we're at 532, which is way too underappreciated. That's got it. Hopefully we'll refresh it later and it'll be at I don't know, 1,000 or something. Okay, so where did you go for figures on Black Friday, and what did you get?
Amazon and Game, which would be our equivalent of your GameStop.
Right, it's just called Game.
They have video games. They have like merchandise for like toys and T-shirts and all the nerdy stuff, basically.
Right. Okay. So, I've been to the UK twice. I've never even seen a Game before. But I didn't really go very far.
Not that many of them, and most of them now have moved into other stores. So they move into like bigger stores and become part of that store.
Yeah,
so,
that seems to be
some ridiculously cheap Black Series and Marvel Legends on Black Friday.
Right. So. Oh, go figure, go, dude. Thanks for super chat, man. You're awesome. Thank you, dude. I'm telling you, once you get that up, I'm coming over to your channel and doing the same thing. You are awesome. So, yeah, when I was there, I was primarily just walking around London both times, and I didn't see anything like that. Okay, so you went on Amazon, and they've already arrived.
It was all online stuff, so
that was quick. I mean, I guess Amazon's pretty quick.
Amazon's next day. GameStop Game was like a couple of days.
What'd you get? So some Black Series.
What did I get? So Amazon, I got the Mummy, Michelangelo. None of this is Funko Pop stuff, by the way. So you're probably expecting loads of Funko Pop stuff to turn up, but it's not.
Which we will
Michelangelo Mummy, just because he's just a work of art. The box alone is amazing.
Yeah,
and a bunch of Marvel Legends that were like £6-7 Jigsaw.
Wow.
Classic Loki, He Who Remains, stuff like that.
Wow, so six quid.
with £6, so that's probably the equivalent of about $8.
That's an amazing price. Cool. I didn't get anything on Black Friday, like literally at all. Actually, you know what? I bought one thing for my wife that has nothing to do with toys, but I don't know. I feel like when Black Friday arrives, I don't feel the same like, "Ooh, I gotta jump on it," or I don't know. I don't really know, but, I feel like a lot of the time here in the US, there's, like they have Black Friday week, or the deals just seem like they're just going on for, like, a month, and they don't seem great. I don't know what it is, but I
No, I know
just
what you
don't get
mean. Yeah.
I don't get the hype for Black Friday anymore, but I'm sure I probably missed some pretty
Yeah.
great things, for sure, but I did, however, it wasn't Black Friday, but I think it was the day after. One of my pre-orders did say, "Okay, pre-order's ready. Give us the money so we can ship it to you." And that was my new SH Figure Arts Mandalorian. It's like the newest Mando,
Okay.
so this is gonna be like the best one, and they've had tons of them. And it said it's gonna arrive on Thursday, and I'm really excited, very excited. And yeah, I'm
I've
probably
got
gonna do a whole.
the McFarlane Sinestro on pre-order, so hopefully he should come out before Christmas. I think
Nice.
some people in the
Probably,
US have tried to get him.
probably, yeah. McFarlane's usually like they're quick. Like once something is ready and done, they're on to the next thing. And there's not
I just
usually a
picked this one up a
crazy.
couple of weeks ago. She's cool.
Oh, fantastic! And she's got a soft goods cape.
Yeah, she does actually. It's a shame it's not wired, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a rare occurrence in McFarlane. So they they impress me a lot. So that's good to hear. All right, well, cool. Well, thanks for asking about Thanksgiving. But tell me a little bit about Paul, and then tell me a little bit about the whole toy photography world. Tell me a little bit about you first.
Wow. I started back probably in 2000, so 23 years ago. Well, I didn't know it was toy photography at the time. So I used to work in a comic book shop, and we used to get Toy Fair magazine in. If you ever read that.
No.
So Toy Fair magazine was like Wizard, which was for comic books, and Toy Fair was
Right.
for toys. And they used to have a comic strip in the middle with Migos, and it was kind of just like a comedy comic strip with them. And I thought that's really cool. I need to do that just for fun. And it was about the same time Mini Mates came out, so I started doing it with Mini Mates, a little Diamond Select,
Yeah. Yep.
2-inch like Lego. So I started collecting those and doing little comic strips and sticking up the comic strips in the comic shop
cool.
for people to read.
So the comic strip, all the images in the comic strip were made up of toy photos.
Yeah, just me prattling around and then putting word balloons on there and sticking it up on the wall in the comic shop once a week because it was inspired by toy. But I didn't know it was toy photography at the time. I mean, the digital camera I had was like a Kodak. It was like
Right.
3 megapixel. It had a tiny 1-inch screen, and it was state of the art at the time.
Yes, I definitely remember. I definitely remember cameras like that. I had several of those. That's really cool. So you've been doing this for 23 years, technically.
On and off, yeah, but only recently. I think, like most people during the pandemic, started really like focusing
Definitely.
on light and atmosphere. And my wife had got me a proper camera, not
That's
just
really
like a
cool.
little digital camera.
So yeah, so toy photography obviously has been a thing since toys and cameras existed. But yeah, I guess like the word toy photography as a collective whole that we kind of are, I'm sure probably hasn't really existed since social media.
No,
Actually, I'm sure there's plenty of people that are like, nope, me and the guys every Wednesday we'd meet up and take toy photos.
well, it's like
Or something.
there's a documentary on YouTube. I can't remember the name of the documentary about the guy who originally photographed the original Ken of Star Wars toys. So technically, he was a toy photographer. So he classes himself as one of the first toy photographers,
Right.
because that's what he did for a living. He went in and took pictures of the Star Wars toys to go on the boxes. So
Yeah, that was right. That's so cool. All right, well, cool. So you said it's been on and off since 20.
Yeah, so mini mates kind of they stopped being available in the UK for some reason. I think it was because of safety testing or whatever. Every action figure that gets sold in the UK had to go through safety testing, and I think for the volume that Diamond was selling in the UK, I don't think it was worth them paying the money to get them tested. So I used to have to get them imported from America.
Interesting.
And obviously pricing just went through the roof. It was ridiculously high.
Oh
It was
yeah.
costing more to get them shipped than it was to buy them. So I ended up stopping for a while, and it was after I got married. Me and my wife were on a honeymoon, and we started picking up a few Funko Pops
Mhm.
for various characters, and it kind of ballooned into that. And then from there on in, I kind of started picking up toys from my youth, like Transformers, and then started getting G.I. Joe Classified, Black Series. But yeah, it's always still with the Funko Pops.
Definitely.
They're
Yeah.
so cute.
To be honest, Funko kind of was an entry point for, I wouldn't say maybe not an entry point, but it was definitely a huge part of when I first started collecting too, because um it was when they first started, and there was really only like a handful of different, and they all had the same exact pose, and
Same pose.
there's
They were
only,
kind of bulky and yeah,
yeah, they were all almost exactly the same. And I remember that they probably only had like 10 to 20 different like IP at the moment. You can find Marvel stuff, DC stuff, some
DC,
Star
Star
Wars,
Wars.
and then like, I remember seeing like there was a Watchmen one. I was like, oh man, I want the Dr. Manhattan. So, and the fact that I could get tons of different things that all are all the same, but in all my favorite things, like that was super attractive to me. And I tr-
Yeah.
and it was, so I'm sure everybody has gotten at least a little bit of that in some
That's it. I
way.
mean, with them, there's something for everyone. You know, if you're into like
Right.
Michael Jackson, you can get a Michael Jackson. If you're into
Yeah.
Kevin Smith, you can get a Kevin Smith.
Exactly. And that's why they do so well. And they're only $10, or
Yeah,
they used to
I
be,
think they've,
but
I think they've
now,
gone up a bit now. They're about,
right.
I think the standard's about £13. So I don't know what that is in dollars.
Right. Like everything else has.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I'm sure everyone's like had a little bit of that. And so then once a lot of people stay in there, but I think once you start taking pictures of them, you definitely get the urge to evolve and grow
you don't
into,
have to pose them because most of them are already posed. So you literally just take them out, put it down,
right.
move the head around, and then play around with lighting and stuff if you want, or just put it down and just take a picture and
Yeah.
just grow from there.
Yeah, and naturally, as an artist and wanting to keep doing more and more, you're gonna have the urge to like want to pose more and expand your art more. And so then naturally, just real figures are the next step.
Yeah,
So
I think that puts a lot of people off is trying to pose them and get them so they don't fall over. Because the number of times you put a figure down and it just falls straight over.
yeah, there's.
I mean,
I
the
will
amazing
say,
channel, he's the master of posing. I mean, he can get a figure
oh
perfectly
my god,
balanced on one leg,
yeah, I've
and
learned a lot about posing from
yeah,
him. Yeah, he's great. He's great, and he's almost at like 100. I just saw a thing from him. He's at
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
99,000
yeah,
subs. So if you haven't subscribed to D Amazing, which I'm sure probably everyone here probably has, make sure you
yeah.
do that. Help him get to 100K. But yeah, cool. So that's, I think, something a little bit, probably a little bit of everyone can relate to. Um, Man, there was something else I was gonna say, but all right. So when did it happen? When you were kind of oh, okay. I do know what I was gonna say before I wanted to move on from Funko. There is something really charming and great and fun about shooting Funko, because I've done it plenty of times. Sometime with my own stuff, incorporating, like there was that Funko challenge I did, and I've done lucky enough to do some work with like Star Wars Funko and stuff, and it's really fun because like you can focus on so much else and not necessarily have to focus on what's going on with the figure and the
Yeah,
posing. It's like that's already taken care of. I can just focus on the way this, and they are really super photogenic, and light bounces off of them really nicely with that matte finish, or depending on what it is. So I do like shooting Funko a lot. So if you haven't tried that, if you like toy photography, try
yeah.
shooting a
Like I said,
Funko.
it's a good entry point to just get a Funko and take a picture and then go for it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you have always been kind of collecting the figures and shooting them, but when did you start actually posting your actual, not just your Funko stuff, but your action figure stuff too?
Um, I kind of wanted to get out. I used to do all of it just for me. It was just because I liked doing it. And then I saw like people like yourself putting it on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, and thought I'm gonna start an Instagram channel and stuff like that. And so many. I mean, I'm a teaching assistant in a local school, and so many children, their job or what they want to do when they're older, they always say, when I'm older, I want to be an Instagrammer or a YouTuber.
Really? That's so
So
funny.
when
Yeah.
they used to say that, I was like, I have no clue how to be a YouTuber or an Instagrammer. So I thought, right, I'm going to go and teach myself how to do this. So then when children ask me in school, they want to do that, I can explain to them how hard or how easy, or advise them what to do. So
Cool.
yeah,
And
that's why I
you're
started it basically.
doing fantastic at it for sure. Um, I, I just want to say, as I'm going through your stuff, there is a really great and type. I don't know how to really to explain it, but there's a type of realism to your photos. Like, I don't know if it's just the way you're using light and just all of the surroundings and happening. Like with this photo specifically, it really looks like they're in a cave. I think whatever you use for the lighting on his face
I know
to
it
make it.
kind of that was a happy accident. After I was going through, because there was about 60 different versions of that picture that I took. I know there was flicking through them. I was like, oh, I don't know what I did there, but that's got a really cool light coming down on his face. So that's the one I'm going to use.
It looks so good. It almost looks like we know how water when it reflects
Reflect.
like off.
Yeah,
It looks like there's water, like water from the Bat Cave stuff bouncing off and reflecting onto his face. Like that's what it looks like, and that is so cool. And
but
all of your
that was just
photos.
that was a floor that I used, which is it was just like a diorama floor that I made, and the stalagmite, the rocks in the back.
Oh, I lost you for a sec. Oh, did we lost Paul? Paul, if you can hear me, we lost you. Maybe try to come back and leave and come back or what? But yeah, I think everybody can agree with me that yeah, there's a certain sense of this like super incredible realism for his stuff. Mandalorian news, I agree. Like like the Jimi Hendrix shot. The the lighting that's actually reflected onto the figure is matching everything perfectly with what's happening. Oh, okay, he left, so hopefully he'll come back soon. Perfectly with the lights in the background, and at the same kind of intensity that's in the background too. Hey, there he is. You're back.
Right, so I left and I came back.
Yeah, that was actually a really quick recovery. So, but yeah, there's a sense of realism to all of these, and each one of the. It's almost as if like you take an environment and you build it specifically for one photo,
Yeah.
and then and so that is what you do.
So some of it, so the background was that was cut out on a Cricut, so I managed to get the design perfect, and the shelves next to him are 3D printed and painted. Just a generic bookshelf, but yeah, it fitted. Well, when I 3D print stuff, I do two scales. I scale it for Funko Pops, and then I scale it for 6-inch figures as well. So I got two different scales going on each time.
That's so wow. So you really do build each set for each photo. That's so incredible. Okay,
I mean,
that's so
sometimes I'll
that's
just, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to use this for yet, but this was just a barrel that I made, which is for 6-inch scale, and I've got a couple made up for Funko Pop scale. I don't know what I use them for, but I just make them.
it'll
Like,
come in
I got
handy.
a couple of grates that I haven't painted up yet, but they'll be cool for something, particularly with light shining through them.
Definitely. Yeah, that's so cool. So because you do that, you scroll down, and this is something that I think is like super important with trying to grow a page, and this is something I'm always trying to reproduce or trying to do myself. Is like when you go and open someone's page or their Instagram for the first time, and you're seeing everything, and you see each one of these photos is such an awesome, unique post and so different from one another, and just like everyone pops out at you, and so you have such a easily followable page. You know what I mean? You open it up and everything just like looks totally bright and unique and different from each other. And the fact that you go ahead and create the scene and the diorama basically for every photo goes, I think, a really long way.
I mean, some that I take there with like the Ahsoka one, for instance, that's just taken in the garden outside
Right.
during the summer.
And this works. This one is great because it looks a lot like that one scene in Ahsoka where they're on, what planet are they on?
I know the one you mean, yeah.
Corellia, right?
Yeah.
They're on Corellia, and she's fighting Merrick and stuff. And this looks a lot like that. Was that the goal?
No, I just wanted to try it. I wanted to have a stormtrooper in the front that was out of focus and focus on Ahsoka. So that's where my focus was. And once I had a focused in and locked in, then I put the stormtroopers around. It was actually a wider photo because there's actually 2 more stormtroopers off to the side, but I had to crop it down for Instagram. But yeah, There was a couple more stormtroopers off to the other side as well.
Okay. Awesome. And it's just, I used this one for the thumbnail for today just because I just feel like it worked so well for that. And I like, one of the questions I really wanted to ask you is if you had any background in photography before this, because these really do look like they look like perfect product photos. Like they're showcasing these Funko Pops so perfectly, and everything's so crisp and clean.
No, I mean, everything I learned by watching you. I mean, you were the first person that I stumbled on YouTube, and then obviously I go and watch others. But I don't just watch toy photography videos. I try to watch videos about photography in general.
That is such a great hint. I mean, that's like the worst thing that I can be saying if I'm trying to have a toy photography YouTube channel. But yeah, don't just watch toy photography videos. Watch just videos on photography and videos about the camera that you have. And
there's a really good YouTuber called Paulie B, who's a New York street photographer. So basically he walks around taking just street photos day by day, and he'll take another street photographer out with him, and they'll talk about their process and what they're thinking and day-to-day life in New York. And it's just really interesting getting inside their heads and knowing how they think.
That's really awesome. And I feel like I've probably seen them at some point, but one thing that's really great about when you're watching just photography YouTube or learning about normal photography stuff and not necessarily just toy photography stuff is you learn a lot of things that aren't necessarily centered around toy photography. So you learn all these great new and useful elements that you can bring into toy photography. And sometimes they're things that you don't see anybody doing yet. And sometimes you learn, like, because one of the best things about the toy community is we're all learning from each other, which I am certainly learning from, and I'm trying to help people learn too. But when you get learn things from outside sources, you kind of you might do something no one else is really doing yet, and you'll help us learn something new. So yes, couldn't recommend that anymore. And that's how I've learned everything about my camera, stuff like that, is just pulling it up on YouTube.
Yep.
But I'm honestly quite surprised. I was ready, like, when we were going to do this, I was ready to hear you say, like, yeah, well, I've been doing product photography for
I mean, I couldn't go into like specifics. I know if I turn the dial one way, I can capture water kind of going and exploding, and if I capture it the other way, I can make it really dark, and then I can add my own lights around there and create more atmosphere. Like, so I can't go into the techniques. I just know how to do what I do.
Do you have any type of like art experience or anything? Just like I've definitely
always been creative. Going back to when I was like a kid with like the original G.I. Joes, the original 3 3/4 scale Joe figures. They were my favorite because I realized that I could sand them down so they were completely smooth. and then I could get like modeling putty and build them up and turn them into whatever toy I wanted. So if I wanted Ninja Turtles, rather than going and buying them, I could just turn the Joes into Ninja Turtles.
That's really cool. That's like,
and then sculpt my own toys and then paint them and stuff.
that's so cool. Well, the reason why I ask that specifically is like every one of these photos seems like there's a clear just understanding of colors and light and like what works together and like filling up a canvas perfectly and framing it. So there's every one of these photos just has such a seems like a clear and perfect understanding of all that stuff.
I'm
And
going
like,
back to the Michael Scott one, which is at the top, which I did for Sirdork 13.
yes,
Okay, because you asked a question on that one, which like, how did I do it? That is an actual pop. That is an actual check. And
right.
it's from the episode where he hits Meredith with his car, and then they do a fun run for rabies, even though it's been cured. So that pop actually says pay, I think it's something like $300 or something to science, and I just kind of Photoshop that out and put Sirdork and 13 in there.
It looks perfect. That was such a creative way to add the 13 because that was one thing that was like tough for a lot of people, including myself, to like think of something. And nobody, I think you were really the only person to do something.
I mean, I'm glad I did that one, but I actually asked ChatGPT what I should do.
Whoa!
And it came up with like this suggestion for taking 13 figures and try to theme them in like a superhero or a group or something like that, and then emphasis on the 13th figure with light and whatever. And I just looked at it and I thought, nah, I'm not doing that. And this figure actually came out like just before, and I was like, okay, I've got to use that figure. I've got to use Michael Scott. I'm going to use that figure. But no, I actually I was just so stumped. I put it into ChatGPT to see if that could come up with any suggestions.
That's really cool.
And it was a good suggestion. There's no way I was going to do that.
Especially with Funko Pops 13, because there's not a whole lot more you can do with them besides just lining them up, unless you have things to stack them on.
Yeah.
So is that something you've done before with toy photography? I'm really curious about this specifically, like asking ChatGPT for ideas.
It's good, but I've never actually asked it and then followed through with one of the ideas. But it's something that if you're ever suffering from a mental block where you're thinking, I don't know what to do, just put it into ChatGPT. Just say, a photography idea for a stormtrooper action figure, and it'll give you a whole essay basically on how to take it.
That is so interesting. I really want to try that. Wow, that's so cool. I mean, there's so much you can use it for. Like when my wife and we got married a couple of months ago, and almost all of our thank you very much. Almost all of our we had a post-apocalyptic theme. So what she did was to get the like wedding invitations and the descriptions and even like the names of like the our food entrees and stuff. She just threw it all into ChatGPT and it all came out so good.
Yeah, it's scary how good stuff is on there.
Yeah, that's so interesting. That makes me really want to try that. I feel like that would be a super interesting, just like
that would be a good video. Yeah,
it'd be a good video.
ChatGPT telling you what to shoot with a toy. Yeah,
I'm gonna on one of those weeks where I'm like, what am I gonna make a video for this time? That's what I'm gonna do, and I'm definitely gonna make sure I mention you. That is so cool. But hey, you didn't end up going with it at all, but it did help at least get the gears turning. Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's so cool. But yeah, just like when you look at your stuff, you see these really do, and like sometimes you'll say this like, wow, these look like these should be photos for Funko. These actually really do look like these should be on like these look like photos that Funko has hired somebody to showcase their new pop and putting it on there.
I always tag them whenever I list them on Instagram and put them up there. I always tag them in there, but yeah. One day someone might be.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely. They probably get all kinds of stuff, but still, like, these actually legitimately do look like that's where they are from. Like scrolling on this, I wouldn't be surprised if this like was an ad, and I mean that in the best possible way because the figure is showcased perfectly, and it looks like this person knows exactly what they're doing. And so. What did you do to build this one? I'm assuming you built. you built this?
It's just I did bring props because I knew you'd ask me questions. So it's basically just things like blue
Yes.
styrofoam like this, which I then turn into a diorama. So
Just turn it into one real quick. Just
well, I watch a lot of Jordan at Oilers Workshop.
okay. Yeah, he's great.
You know,
He's amazing.
he's like the Ron Swanson of diorama builders. He's just amazing.
He is incredible.
So yeah, just watching him make stuff, kind of, and then I'll just sit along and make stuff along with him and see how he does stuff. And I think it's called world building. I don't just like to pop my figure down and take a picture of it. I can kind of need to create a story around it or something like that. So yeah, I've always got loads of stuff on the go.
Yeah.
So recently I found a digital download for these tiny little comic books, these 1/6 scale comic books.
That is
I don't know
so
what I'm going to
cool.
use them for yet, but yeah, then they're actual. You print them out and stick them together, and they're actually.
Wow.
So
that is so cool. Well, I'm sure those will absolutely come in handy for something. Here's another example of just like it really looks like the entire setting in the world was created specifically for this scene, for this figure.
I mean, I put magnets in stuff so I can kind of swap stuff around quickly if I want to. So no picture will ever be the same sort of thing.
Yeah, well, it works amazing. Like this one, the use of the green
I like that
light
one. That's
behind
one of my favorite.
It's just so brilliant. It's so good. You like it. The obviously you've got an amazing texture back here that you made, and so that green light is just showcasing that, and it makes it look really cool.
I use atmosphere aerosol, but recently I've started using an atomizer, and I think in some ways it's actually better. One of the little
atomizer.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What's that?
It's have I got one? So it's like that, and you fill it with water.
Gotcha.
And then when you open it, it just sprays out a fine mist,
like a mister.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen and heard a lot of people using that, and I've never used it myself, but I've heard they're great, and so yet another proof that it works great. And plus,
and you can, when you do use atmosphere aerosol, once it comes out, it kind of spreads everywhere. Whereas with a mister, you can kind of direct it more to where you want it to go.
Right. It's slower.
Yeah. So in the picture with there's one with the Sanderson sisters with a cauldron, which I think is a bit further up.
Yes.
So what I did there's a tiny light in the cauldron, and then I just sprayed the mister into there, and then quickly pulled my hand out, and then took a series of pictures, and that's how I managed to get the green.
Oh, and I'll just slowly. Yeah, and you would not have been able to get that with the atmosphere aerosol. That's for sure. That's so cool. Yeah, anytime I try to specifically get that little cloud with the atmosphere aerosol, I'll just go and I'll try to take a picture right as it hits the ground and goes, and then after that I gotta try over again because that's the only opportunity you get to get that.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Atomizer. Basically, you're just using water, an atmosphere aerosol. Right. Once you run through the can, you got to buy another can. Whereas
great point.
Water.
So yeah, and I'm sure the the atomizer is cheaper, if not the same price as a can.
But this is this is my second one. This came with my Michelangelo figure because I think it was like £4 on Black Friday. So this is my second one actually.
I'll have to try that out. That's so cool. So much to learn. So with this one, I can tell you, did you make those like propaganda posters back there and print them out?
And that little owl graffiti was just painted on with paint pens and stuff.
The owl, like what's the owl's Ahsoka owl's
It's
name?
always with Ahsoka. You associate it with Ahsoka, so that's why the owl's there, because it's the Ahsoka trooper.
Ahsoka clone. I'm trying to think of the name of the owl. It's like Morai or something, right?
Yeah.
I think that's
the only thing that annoys me is one of the propaganda poster has a stormtrooper in it. I didn't realize that until after.
Imperial forces. Hey, maybe maybe this is a clone that is
A renegade clone, yeah.
Yeah, after the Jedi purge, and there's one or two leftover loyal clones. There's a whole story. See, there's a
Yeah.
whole story here. There's lore. Um, I mean, love me some Blue Beetle.
Haven't seen the film yet, and I'm waiting for it to come out over here. But no, I'm
Oh, it's
looking
great.
forward to seeing the film.
It's really great, and I shot this exact Funko Pop for one of the Blue Beetle things I did, and it
Yes,
is a
that's right,
great.
yeah.
It's
And it was
very.
because of the video that I saw. I went and got the McFarlane Blue Beetle as well.
Wow, that's great. Okay, I'll
But
have
they did two. They
to.
did one with wings and one without. I got the one without the
Right.
wings.
Really great figures. I think they were on sale at for Black Friday for
Yeah,
like $5 or something, which is crazy.
yeah. Over here, I know lots of people were saying that they were cheap in America, but over here they were still like £15, so that's still about $20. So
Right.
they didn't.
It's too
What
bad.
happens in Amazon America is different from over here.
Of course, of course. Yeah, and one thing with this Funko, which was kind of a pain, is he leaned forward a little bit because of
He's
the
very top heavy. Yeah,
kneeling. So I put some sticky tack on his foot to keep him up straight. Whoa, cool, Master Chief. I'll give us up this steak. But hey, okay, so we've at let's see, we're at 5:32. I know a couple people in the chat were saying now we're at 5:39. All right. Great start. So obviously, yes, your Funko stuff is your bread and butter, at least for now. This one's great too. I love this. And oh, he's gone. And what I love about it, until he comes back, is how different, just as you scroll, each one of these is so completely different from the next, and I think that's so cool. But I was going to talk about the non-Funko things. This was an incredibly photogenic one to shoot. And look at the lighting too on here, on the face from the guy. And you know what? What I do love too is that there's a lot of stuff being shot here that you wouldn't typically see. Like this is the guy from, what's his name? Talos from the Marvel show, which I know a lot of people didn't love, but that's all right. It's a cool Funko, and it provides inspiration for a lot of really cool shots, Hey, here he is. There we go.
That's better. I reckon it's going to happen at least twice more. I don't know why.
Hey, we're honestly, when it happens, I'll just keep going, come back, and it's like it never happened. We're good. But yeah. So what I was gonna say is, so obviously Funko right now is kind of your bread and butter. But little did I know is that this is not your only account. You've got a normal account with other shots too.
Yeah.
Which right now is just Paul Riker. But it's not just Funko.
No, I've started putting my toys on there now as well.
Yeah, so we got Soups on here. I totally, like when I see this one, I totally see your style.
That's
here.
One of the best Black Series figures I've ever had. He's an absolute, down here, he's an absolute solid chunk of plastic, this guy.
Yeah, I've seen him in the store, and I haven't picked him up, not because I'm not interested, but like I just haven't been getting as many figures in general. But yeah, the figure looks great, and he's like a deluxe, right? So he's probably like a few bucks more, a few quid more.
Yeah. There's a lot of plastic in this guy. He's pretty weighty.
That's awesome. So tell me about. Okay, this is great. I love this. First of all, this is one of my favorite characters. I love Death. I mean, I love Firestorm, and then Deathstorm is just
that wave alone was just amazing, and the Builder figure was just the icing on the cake.
That's one of the first. That's one of the first times I ever bought an entire wave with anything. So I was like, I want every one of these figures, and I want the Build figure, and like that was so cool. So tell me about this whole like. I don't even want to say transition, but like, what made you go and start like, all right, I'm gonna start doing not just Funko.
Well, I collect toys anyway, and it's kind of like Funko, like I said, Funko's kind of easy to shoot in a way, but it's also not because you need to put more into it. But toys, if you can pose the toys, I love that one of Woody being creepy coming through the ripped up paper. Yeah, toys are more of a challenge, and that's kind of what I'm leaning towards now.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely see the challenge. It's kind of like I don't want to compare this, and I don't want anyone to think this is like a bad thing by any means, but like I think of it as like shooting with a phone and then moving over to
Using
a
a
full-fledged
yeah,
camera,
camera.
because obviously shooting a Funko is really great and really fun, and I love doing it. Shooting with a phone, it's really great. Phones are incredible. You can take some great photos with it, but you are still a little bit limited. Just like with a
Hmm.
Funko, you're a little bit limited. And once you branch out to like using real figures, you are a lot less limited and you can branch out and do a lot more with it. Kind of like with a camera. So cool. So tell me about how the challenge has been since
Um, it's about getting them to stand up without falling over, basically.
yeah, it's that's definitely the case. What
But yeah, the
really what
end Euro up the back works very well.
yes, that's true. What honestly what I don't even like if I'm posing a figure, like I won't even worry about whether or not if it's gonna stand. Because there's a small chance that it's gonna stand when I put it in the pose. I'll put it in the pose, and then if it stands, awesome. But I'll just bring like a stick to prop it up with, and that's usually all I'll do. Um, and then that's a quick edit in Photoshop, which makes me ask, like, what as far as editing goes, what are you usually using? What do you usually do when you're
I
editing stuff like that?
try to do everything on my phone. I hate using laptops. So I'll try to do everything on my phone. I've got Lightroom on my phone, and Snapseed and the other apps. I think you've covered most of them in some of your videos anyway, just for being able to remove things and hide things.
Yeah,
If ever I need to do like photo stacking for whatever reason, then obviously I'll use Photoshop or something. I'm still using Photoshop 7, which shows you how old that is.
I'm trying to think because for the longest time I used a very old Photoshop too, because it was pre like if you had Photoshop, you had always had the updated version.
Yeah,
Before then, it
the
was just
reason I still use it is because I've still got the disc and I've still got
right.
the code for it.
And I
So
think that's the same one that I use too. Yeah. So if you do get your hands on any of those, it's great. But um, it still does do great. I mean, there's a lot of cool new features that it doesn't have. But does it have content aware? That old
no, but
version?
if there's a web-based thing called Photop, which is
Okay,
basically Photoshop online. You just go onto the website and it can do everything that Photoshop can do. So
interesting.
yeah,
All right. Poptography actually was thinking like exactly what I was talking about, but almost like the opposite. It says shooting Funko Pop is a challenge as you can't really pose them, but I threw myself the extra challenge to not use my SLR and force myself to use my iPhone. That's true. Yeah, it does definitely become even more of a challenge because you're like giving yourself more limits, but it's a great challenge. And if you're forcing yourself to use like your phone or something, you're forcing yourself to rely on your creativity and stuff.
the thing is with a phone though, is you can get your phone and you can get it in at kind of an angle, and you can move it so you can
Yeah,
shoot directly up,
that's true,
or you
which
can
you
get it
can't really
in so you
do
can shoot. So you can get
easily.
some really good angles with a phone that you can't get with it. If your pop's on the floor, you can't get that your camera down and underneath, but you can
Right.
with a phone. You can get the phone
That's
in
true.
really flat and still take the picture.
That's true. And honestly, I don't think we're that far off to the point where it's going to happen soon where using your phone is going to be no different than having a camera.
No, you
It's
can
going to
get third-party apps that you can kind of
Yeah.
adjust settings with already.
Yeah. And I really don't think we're far off to the point where shooting with your full-on camera and shooting with your phone is going to be the same.
Hmm.
That's crazy to think about. I don't think we're far off from that at all.
There's
Okay,
something
so
nice about having a camera, though, a proper camera to hold on to and adjust.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And in a way, like with filming and using my camera for like the video, sometimes that's way better than using my camera to film. Like using my
Yeah.
phone to film for you. Sometimes that's way better, depending on what I'm looking for. But yeah,
I mean, that's why I keep all my old phones now, is because I like using them as cameras or video cameras for shooting B-roll for YouTube
yeah.
or shooting my unboxing videos for YouTube. So,
S- So there's one thing I'm noticing is that you're always putting your shots in a square ratio,
mhm.
1 by 1, which honestly works really great for social media. It fits great with no matter what platform you put it on. So yeah, I'm curious why the choice of just the square.
It's just the format that I put it off in. I mean, I could change it, I suppose, and I might, but it's just the format that I'm comfortable with. I think I always
Yeah,
crop them to fit the square. Like with the Ahsoka one I said earlier, that there
right.
was stuff I cut off the side to get it to fit, which was a shame because it was good. But yeah,
I do find myself specifically trying hard to make sure all of my stuff fits in long, like in a longer 4 by 5. And that's
like
just
the
I think that's
TikTok
just
style. Yeah,
yeah, I think that's just how I like it in general. I used to be the opposite. I used to like it wide, stuff like that. But I think it's just because that's just how I like it. And so I don't know any other reason why. And I would suppose that shooting in square is that's just what makes the most sense to you. So that's
yeah.
what you go for. Do you have the option to shoot in square on your camera?
No, I always make sure that whenever I'm setting up, I always know that I'm going to be cropping a few off the side. But then, like the Ahsoka picture, I mean, at some point I'll probably, because I like having like a physical copy of my photos in a book as well.
Whoa, tell me about
Um,
that.
so then, if I ever need inspiration or whatever, then I could just kind of flick through and just. It's nice to have physical kind of
Wow,
media that you
that
can
looks
see. Because looking
great.
at it on a screen sometimes never does a photo justice. I always think that if you want to look at a photo properly, you need to see it in person and in a book
Yeah,
or in an
that is
actual
so
photo.
cool. And the book looks amazing.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. And I make little books like this and I take them into school for the kids to look at.
So where did you get that done, and how did that all like, or those or
That
tell
was
me about
just
that?
an offer, and I didn't think it was going to be that big. It was just kind of like, oh, that's really cheap. Let's put all my photos into there that I like. And I think I did about 24 and put them all into this big book. And when it turned up, I was like, whoa, that's a really big book.
Cool.
Normally, I was expecting it to be kind of a bit smaller.
Where did you get it done? Like, how, did you just find some?
Um, there's like, I don't know if you like Vistaprint. I don't know if you have them
Yep,
in. Yep, like that. But they don't just do calendars or mugs or whatever. They can do hardback
all kind.
books and stuff. And every now and again, they'll do like 50% off offers and stuff.
Interesting.
One of the
Yeah.
things I've been thinking about doing is making like a zine. Again, watching street photographers, they'll often take their work and put it into like a zine, and they can print up like 100 of those for like $80.
Cool. I would like to do
Um,
that.
and we can do the same thing over here. And I was thinking about doing the same thing and then just selling a few on eBay or something just to see if people would buy them.
Yeah. I feel like those would be a great thing to have in like a waiting room somewhere. Like if you
Yeah,
go to like the doctor's office and that's just kind of chilling on the table, you just I feel like that would be really cool. Um, that'd be perfect for that. And man, that book looks great. Like just when you pulled up, you scrolled and you had that Thrawn image. That just like wow, that looks so good. Like that
yeah.
came out
It's
really,
so much better
really
than,
good.
I mean, on the screen it looks good, but when you have it in front of you, it's just, if ever you're feeling like you think, oh, I can't do this anymore, or I've got a mental block, or I don't know what to do, just get the book out and it kind of inspires you to go and
Cool.
take some cool pictures.
Yeah, great recommendations here. So Steak says, I've asked you, Sirdork, specifically this, but I like to hear multiple answers. Asking Riker if he did any cheating up the color brightness for prints. I'm always paranoid for prints coming out darker.
Yes, just a little bit, not much, because you don't want to oversaturate them. But yeah, always like put the brightness and the contrast up just a tiny bit.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And just print looks different than screen in
Yeah,
general.
always.
Yeah, it's just how it works. So even if you get one and it's too dark, sometimes I guess you could probably blame the printer, but sometimes it's just like, well, screens are just different than print. So
because they send you a PDF proof to have a look at before you actually commit. But I mean, still, you're looking at it on the screen again on your phone or laptop or whatever. So
that's great. This shot's really cool. I love this. Collector of art, which works so well with Thrawn.
yeah.
Are these like 3D printed walls with like a light behind them for the
3D printed walls, crate. The floor is just black perspex because it's really reflective.
Right, it's perfect.
So yeah, it's perfect for that. And the pop is just one of the new Biddy Pops that have come out.
I love those. I really like those.
As soon as I saw those, I was like, they're going to be great for toy photography.
They're so cute.
Saw how popular the mini brands were, I think, and decided to do their own version.
Yeah, I've got a handful of these already, and I like them a lot. That is so good. There's so much great info. So much great info. Okay, so what was I was gonna ask you? So we talked about the square. Oh, actually, you know what? I've got a bunch of questions from Instagram, and so if anyone has any other questions in the live chat, please feel free to throw them in, and I definitely will get to them. Would absolutely love to do that. So I'm gonna quickly pull that up so we can get some questions. So basically, what I did was I just on Instagram. Anytime I'll have a stream like this on Instagram, I'm going to throw up, hey, got any questions for this person? Throw them in there, and then we'll talk about them. All right. So first question is from Ben, Action Photography, who I know was here in the live chat, at least for a little bit, says, when you first started with your action figures, what was your favorite place to go? So I guess favorite location.
Outside. So I'm lucky that we live in a cottage. We got a lot of land around us. So we've got a front lawn, then we've got patio around the sides, then we've got a forest next to us, and then we've got gravel and stone out the back and artificial grass. So I've got kind of lots of different environments I can shoot on. So I just love going out there and just shooting in the forest or shooting under the bushes in the front garden or whatever.
And so I'm assuming, I'm pulling one up here. So I'm assuming this one here is an example of that.
Yeah. That was just on a rock under a bush with a green light next to him.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Colors complement so well. And then whatever, there's some like red, maybe clovers or something over here that just complements it so well. And I love that about toy photography is like you can really just go outside and find a tiny little place that works perfect for your tiny little figure.
Yeah.
Get an amazing environment like that. I love that.
I mean, I like the school's got like a forest school in it, and I like going in there during the holidays, and because it's such a big area, and shooting in there. That's nice. Take a packed lunch and some toys, and just go and shoot in the forest area.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So this one is so good, and there's a lot. I love how you'll add in that green light.
Yeah.
And so not only are you getting
a year after the Sirdork flower one, that was his grown up version now in the same spot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, there's so many great shots in here. All right, I'm finding it. Here's that Thrawn one that we saw in the book. So clean.
Yeah.
Where is Grogu? In the same spot too.
There he is. You just gone. There he is. That's actually, because it's like freezing cold, that's actually my blanket as well. So.
Oh my god.
So yeah.
That's amazing. Wait, can you can I highlight you? Can you show that again? Pull up your.
I mean, this is a massive blanket, but yeah, you can see it kind of
Oh god, that's
No.
awesome. That's so cool. Cool. There's so much to love on your page. Honestly, there's so much. All right. Well, I'm gonna get to the next question. So Ben, thanks for throwing that in there, Ben. And Ben's here and he says, "Good job." I agree. Really good job. Next one. It's from Photo Lord. Says, "What's the best pizza?" I'd love to know.
Vegan pepperoni.
Vegan pepperoni. Okay, so are you a vegan?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
We
okay.
don't
Well,
have a huge amount of choice, but Domino's do a vegan pepperoni, they call it, because there's no actually pepperoni,
that
but
is
yeah.
so cool. So I'm not vegan. My wife is vegetarian and lactose intolerant, so she's basically a vegan. I'm
Yeah.
also lactose intolerant, and I live with a vegan person. So I eat a lot of fake meats and stuff and fake cheeses. And the UK is so much further ahead than we are with that kind of thing. Domino's having fake pepperoni? Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, we've got about 6 to choose from, and every now and again they'll do a chickent, which is like a barbecue chicken without the chicken, like a fake chicken.
With what, like oat milk cheese or something?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's whatever they do. Soy, I think it's soy over here. We have a lot of soy-based cheese.
So is great. So is really good. And one thing that we don't have over here is like going into Burger King and getting a halloumi burger.
Right.
Never had that. Never seen that over here ever. Or heard halloumi until I was over there. And I mean, I make myself a burger every night, but I also am like, oh, I want to try a halloumi burger. So very interesting. That's really cool. It's one thing when we were in London. I don't remember what restaurant it was, but she got a barbecue pulled mushroom sandwich, which was really good. It's really good.
Yeah, we're like you said, we're quite far ahead.
Yeah, you guys are very far ahead. We can still find that in like some pizza places. Like there's a local place here that has a vegan mac and cheese pizza.
That sounds good.
And it's really good. That's really good. So that's cool. All right. It's good to know. So best pizza for me, in my opinion, I like in classic pepperoni, to be honest. And the more cheese, the better. I love getting anything if I can get stuffed crust. Come on. All right, great question, Photo Lord. Love getting off topic for a little. So, your name on Instagram is Riker Funko Reviews. So, what's your favorite item you've ever reviewed?
Probably gonna be the Funko Sentinel, because he's massive. He's a beast of a Funko Pop.
Awesome. And so that's on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I haven't. I need to do a picture with him at some point.
Cool.
I haven't done it yet. But yeah, he's massive, absolutely massive.
Electrian says, me personally, more sauce, better. More sauce, more better. It's like my dad, Electrian. Whenever he would order pizza, he always say an extra sauce. He'd always get extra sauce, which was fine, but like kind of weird. So there you go. All right.
The crust in, probably. That's what it's for.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I'd love to see that shot for sure. And so, and your YouTube channel is linked in your description on.
Yeah. Again, that was, children would say, "Oh, I want to be a YouTuber," and I was like, "Okay, I have no idea how to be a YouTuber." So I just went and started doing something. We just put in the little Funko Pops, just turning them around and around, just so you could get a 360 of them, and it's just like a minute video. And then I started doing one every day because I had so many. And then one day I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to put myself on camera, opening and talking about them as I get them. So,
nice. Yeah, it takes a little bit of practice and getting more comfortable, because being in front of the camera is really weird at first. I remember the first video I did, which is me opening up a Nintendo Switch, by the way, not a toy photography video. I didn't really understand my direction yet of the channel, and I was in the room by myself sweating because I was on camera and I was nervous. I was like, there's nobody here. And I was like, don't close the door, don't listen to me. I'm just like, why am I nervous? The camera isn't like a person. Like, so yeah, it takes time to get used to that. Being in front of the camera is tough.
No, I mean, I figured if I can kind of stand up in front of a classroom full of children and hold their attention if I need to, then doing a YouTube video should be easy enough. So
definitely. And I will say too, I think if you put yourself in front of a camera, like making YouTube videos, I would say just like your communication skills and things, just you'll find it, you'll get better.
Up.
Yeah, they get better because first of all, you're gonna be hearing yourself talking a lot, and you're gonna hear you say things. You're like, oh, I say things like that. I want.
I can never watch them back. My wife will be in bed watching them as I put them up, and I can hear myself, and then I'm like, no, either switch it off or I'm leaving the room.
Yeah. You hear yourself, and you end up being hypercritical, and your communication skills just get better. At least I feel like I speak better and more clearer than I did before all this. So yeah, go for it. If you want to make a YouTube channel, go for it.
Yeah.
Cool. Such great advice. So Tolly Payday, thanks for the question. Really great question. Next is from Toy Guzzler. What camera is good for toy photography? So we didn't actually even talk about what camera you're using.
I use a camera D100 that my wife got me a long time ago now, because she just wanted to get me kind of an entry level one, and that's just the one I use.
What is it? A Canon D100?
Yeah, Canon. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know anything about that one. I'm assuming it's probably somewhat similar to the. Is it like full chunky, like full frame, like DSLR?
Chunky. It came with a kit lens, which is what I used to mainly use, and then I got a third party kind of, I think it was a Tamron zoom lens, and then I got a Nifty 50, and the Nifty 50 stays on there the whole time now because I just love that.
Great. It's really great.
I don't think I could ever get another camera because my wife got it for me. It kind of has sentimental value too. The only thing that bugged me is I couldn't take the screen out and move it around. But, you can get a couple of cables on Amazon that you can plug into the side and then plug it into the side of a mobile phone, and it'll do the same thing. So
cool. Yeah, that's really nice actually when you can look at it through the phone.
Yeah,
helps quite a bit.
It's a lot easier on the knees as well, so you're not lying down on the floor trying to stare it through a viewfinder or something.
Yeah, so much. Yeah. So Toy Guzzler, I mean, the camera he's using obviously is great, but honestly, I mean, I have recommendations that I bring up all the time, like try using the Canon EOS, the Rebel T7 or the T6, which is like, I recommend that one just because it's the most commonly found. Like if you go to Walmart, they literally have that at Walmart.
But the best camera you're using is the one you've got in your hand because you're using it. So.
It is. It's totally true. And Canon is great because it's probably the most common. So like you're gonna be able to get lenses that fit it easy, and so just honestly, if you were to go on eBay and find like what looks like a good used Canon camera that you can switch the lenses, that will be great. And then once you kind of like get the hang of it and you learn like, oh, I wish this had this, or I wish this had this, then you start learning what it is you actually want in a camera. And then you can get another one years down the line. Or if you break your first camera like I did, then you can go buy a new one that's got everything you want.
Was that where you got it wet in the waterfall?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And an Aquaman picture with a shark.
With a shark.
Yes, amazing memory, by the way. But I hope that answers your question, Toy Guzzler. Yeah, Paul, really great advice. Really great advice. I've got 2 more questions. This is from Stubbs Toy Picks. Who would you like to see as a pop? I think this is a great question.
Okay, there's 2. One, I want a Danhausen pop from AEW.
From AEW?
Wrestling.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. But I'd like to see pops from, it's an old movie, well, I say old, it's the Monster Squad.
Yes, definitely. I've heard of that.
that came out in the 80s. It's kind of like the Goonies versus the Universal Monsters.
Oh,
I'd like
that's.
Pops for that. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, this question is even kind of hard because there's just
I
about
mean,
everything you want.
Funko have done most of them. I mean, if you can think of it, Funko have probably already done it.
Yeah, yeah. At this point, they're just coming out with stuff for new things coming out.
Yeah.
So that all right. That's pretty nice.
I'd like them to redo RoboCop. Actually, that would be cool.
Yeah, I'm sure there's. I don't know a whole lot about RoboCop, but I'm sure there's probably plenty more for them to dig into there. It's a pretty deep franchise, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Action PH Shot says, "Yo, mama, I would love a Funko Pop of my mom. I would love that. Maybe I'll build one and give it to her." So Action PH Shot. Well said. Cool. All right. Always a great question, Stubbs. And actually, Linda in the chat, going back to the camera question, I agree. Any camera you have with you at the time, be it your phone, point and shoot, or the DSLR, whatever you got with you is a good camera for toy photography. I like that. Blockbuster guy says Stargate SG-1.
Oh yes, yes.
They don't have any Stargate Funko Pops.
I mean, there's no Stargate merchandise at all. That actually would be a good line to see come back. But
that is so interesting to me because Stargate is another thing I know nothing about, but it seems like a very well-loved franchise that I'm sure companies would love to capitalize on merchandising for that. Maybe whoever owns it isn't really into merchandising it or
I
licensing
don't know.
it
It's
out.
one of those franchises which has kind of just disappeared now.
Interesting.
You don't hear it talked about a lot, and yet it's got such a huge, rich history, and there's so much more story that they could tell with it.
That's got to be by the choice of whoever owns it.
I think it's MGM.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Which is now owned by Amazon now, right? So
yeah, because they've done like webisodes and stuff like that. But yeah, with a series they haven't done for years now.
Well, maybe with the new ownership of Amazon, or I don't know if that deal has gone through yet or what, but
I don't know if they can like spend like billions making a Lord of the Rings show, they can probably fork out a little bit to make a new Stargate show.
Yeah, I bet you that'll happen. You know, recognizable IP is what all companies are looking for to make money.
Yeah.
So, and Stargate
with an established fan base as well. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I hope that for everyone's sake on here, I hope that happens.
Yeah,
soon.
I think we started something like because everyone's popping up saying, "Yeah, Stargate."
Yeah, that's like the chat has been more busy now than ever. So Stargate it is, I guess. Blockbuster guy says Amazon is deciding what to do with it. They got it now with MGM, so I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure it'll happen in some sort. So we got an interesting question from Toy Mix here, and Toy Mix says, "Good afternoon, brother. How are you? Please, if you can help me with my question as it follows." He says, "I take your photos for an example, which inspired me to take photos of my action figures." Well, thank you first of all, my friend. And says my page is not busy yet, but soon, as I can, I will take lots of photos. What is the right angle to take the photos so that the actions don't have like a big or weird head? So, I guess what's the best angle that's the most flattering for the figures?
For a Funko Pop, I would say straight on, because obviously you've got that tiny body. But if you're using other figures, try to go for angles that don't look natural. So as humans, we always look at eye level at everything. So if you're taking a photo, try to take that angle down to the floor looking up or above looking down.
Yeah.
Try to take photos of angles that we as people tend not to see, because we see everything at eye level. So if you take a photo that's kind of from the floor up, it's not as we would normally see it. And that way it looks weird, so it immediately draws your attention to that photo.
Yes. Brilliant. Yeah, honestly, that's I wouldn't put it any better. than that. Is yeah, put it straight on or put it below. The more below you put it, the more big. You know, when
Yeah.
you're looking at something from, it's just what you do to big things.
Even
Like
even if
small
it's
things you
just
look at.
tilting the camera to the side, so you're not
Yeah,
kind of straight on.
yeah. The
Anything
angle, I
that
like
looks
that.
weird, anything that is a way that we don't see the world. Imagine if you would take it if a dog was looking up at a person and take a picture of how the dog would see the person.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant. So toy mix, I hope that helps. Um, I also want to Steak over here is throwing out some not quite great news. I don't know if he did a quick Google, but it says the latest news from SG1 showrunners is that they have not been contacted by the new owners, unfortunately. Yet.
Yet.
It's gotta happen.
Yeah.
It's gotta happen.
We started the whole SG1 thing going on now.
Yeah, that was great. And honestly, like I've never had the need or the want to go and watch it more than now.
It's one of those things now because it's got like I don't know, like 20 seasons. You've got like 10 seasons of Stargate and I think 5 seasons of Atlantis and like the
Oh
mini
my god.
films and stuff. So there's so much to watch.
Jeez, okay. That is a lot to watch. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe I'll catch up with that some other time. So the one of the questions I like to ask is like what figure do you want that you don't have yet? But Stubbs kind of
Yeah,
um
you covered that.
asked that one. But my next question is gonna be where do you see yourself as a toy photographer in 5 years?
It's still doing the same thing actually, maybe with a few more subscribers, maybe at the first Toys in Action UK convention in London. With a booth.
Yeah, yep, that sounds really great.
But yeah, no, I just like doing the same thing. Taking photos in to show the kids to inspire them because the kids always say, you know, well, why do you buy toys? You're a grown up. Why do you buy toys? And it's like, this is why I buy toys.
Yes, and I'm
This is
sure.
what I do with them. You play with them and tell a story in your imagination in your head, and
Yeah,
I kind of play with them and tell a story this way.
I'm sure a handful of those kids when they're old, they'll still be buying toys too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah.
I adore this photo, by the way. I remember this for your video game one. Like this, just like I I,
This
I adore this
actually
one.
was weird because there was one that I did with Supersonic, and that was the one that I submitted to the video game one.
Oh,
And
really?
then
Not this one?
not this one. And then about a week later, I took this one and uploaded it. And I was like, I really should have waited and tagged this as the video game one. And then you went and did it anyway, which was perfect. So
You know,
yeah,
I might have knowingly done that. I might have been like, you know what, this is awesome. I want to talk about this one. I'm pulling this one up.
yeah,
Just yeah, seeing Gigantamax Mewtwo. This is probably from that big raid event they did back in the day. That was fun. He was really
yeah.
hard. Jeez. Okay, so all right, so doing the same thing. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Hmm.
And so, one goal I know you said that you wanted to combine because you have
Yeah.
right now.
So it won't just be Funko Pops. I might start putting more like toy photography on there as I get around to doing it. When
So
we
like
hit the holiday times, I tend to just try to cram as much photography into holiday times as possible.
that's
So
smart.
yeah,
So will you just kind of be throwing it more onto this
yeah,
account?
I think. Because obviously this has more I got more followers on here, and hopefully the people that follow just for Funko Pops will still stick around because I'll still be doing
Yeah,
lots of
I think that's
Funko
great.
Pops because they're not going anywhere. So
I think that's a great idea. Um, so will you change the name to just like
I don't
Riker
know. I have
figure?
because obviously I put out a little tag at the bottom which says like a photography because it's photography but fun, and I'm thinking
Yes,
of maybe just changing it to that. I don't know.
that's perfect. Honestly, I think that's great because you're still keeping the identity of the Riker, for
Yeah,
your existing follower base, but now you're just opening up the
because it's photography. You're having fun with photography. Yeah.
fun while you're tographing. Well, Linda went ahead and followed on both. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thanks, Linda. As always. All right. Well, Paul, my friend, dude, thank you so much for everything.
Yeah,
Thanks
it's
for
been
coming
amazing.
on.
Yeah.
talking, and I know it's like incredibly late over there in the
What time
UK,
are we
but you
on? So
stayed up.
it's what, 1:15 in the morning now, so I got to get up for work in 4.5 hours.
Oh my God. I hope that your day of work tomorrow is not more strenuous and tiring because of this.
I think there's a PE lesson in there, in the morning somewhere. So.
Well, yeah, like I said, thanks for everything. If you're here watching this, thank you for watching, and please go and follow Riker Funko Review. That I have had it up all night right here. Please go and follow. Obviously, it's you won't regret it. There's nothing but amazing stuff on here. And I didn't pull this one up because I know this is for the challenge that's happening this Friday. So we'll definitely talk about that then. So cool. All right. Again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Paul, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Yes, of course. And
we should do something like this again, where you just get a bunch of us on and just talk about toys for 2 hours.
Yeah.
What's good, what's bad.
Yes.
Put the world to right.
I've always been wanting to do something like that. So yeah, that'll definitely happen. All right. Everyone, have a great night. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.
See you later, guys. Bye.